play with his legacy, having more scratch than a rapper from trapping the sport.
Alright, so it's week 2 of major drops, and this time we have to awaken every annoying nigga just so they can remind the world about how they don't get no bitches. And who could do that better than Hendrix himself, aka the man that made DS2, aka the man that made Monster, aka the man that said Happy Mother's Day to all of his kids and their 6 baby mamas. That's right, I'm talking about Future, aka the man who really likes cheesecake at night and still carries the mentality of a 20-year-old while being in his 40s. And this time he's dropped a new Bible of Toxicity with I Never Liked You, being 45 minutes worth of drug references, misogyny, and fire beats to make for another summer hit. Alright, so when listening to this project, I can already tell you that it's no different from what we've heard before from Future. I mean, maybe it's because Future doesn't really have much to say since he's at the top of the totem pole when it comes to making trap music nowadays. And with him riding the wave of that toxic male energy that's been given him popularity for the past couple of years, it's no surprise that he's going to make a whole project based off this kind of persona. I mean, this project does contain some more softer tone love tracks with Wait For You and Love You Better, but for the majority, it's about the same element of most Future tracks containing an equal balance of drug bars, how many women he fucks, and very goofy yet very Future bars, such as on the track I'm That Nigga with him saying fucked her in the ass, made her pee pee, and my ring cost, it's pink like an ostrich.
Okay.
But that doesn't discern from this still being a solid project, having that catchiness and energy alongside the right delivery for a Future album to turn some of these tracks such as Massaging Me or For a Nut into radio hits. I guess just the interesting thing when it comes to listening to Future is that is it really worth trying to do anything different? It's not like he hasn't hopped on more obscure sounding beats such as Teen X with Playboy Cardi or Holy Terrain with FKA Twigs, so it's proven that he has the ability to do something different, but at the same time with this formula that he's used for so long still carries a lot of weight within the mainstream hip hop scene. So there's no point in changing it, though it means that his music has become pretty predictable. But as for the production, it was pretty solid, though the mixing could have had some work, such as on the track Wait For You, with Drake's verse sounding like he recorded it 100 feet away from the mic, or at certain points the beat can drown out the vocals, which can be a little annoying. But my favorite beats on this project would have to be Holy Ghost, Massaging Me, and 7:12 PM, being these 808 filled, head bopping beats that I feel bring out the best flow from Future throughout this project. But there are also some more sad trap generic piano beats, such as on the tracks Voodoo and The Way Things Going, which I never really cared for, especially with guys such as NBA Youngboy completely taking the style and using it on everything he's ever made. But as for the features, they were okay, with the only low light being Drake in my opinion, with him being featured on the tracks I'm On One and Wait For You, and bringing the most expectable Drake energy that he could bring. As stated before, the mixing for his verse on the track Wait For You was god awful, so I can't even make a proper assessment of that. But with the other track, at least I can say that he carried a solid flow for the beat, but his lyricism on this track makes me want to physically cringe, with the whole bust down THOTIANA thing or all about my goals like I'm messy, which makes me want to roll my eyes out of my goddamn head. But as for everyone else, they were okay with Gunna and Young Thug being the most fun to listen to on the track For a Nut, because who else can execute better on a song of that name more than these two weirdos? But overall, this album was solid, but pretty on par for a basic Future project. I can see some hits on there with For a Nut and I'm That Nigga, but even still, there isn't really much that makes me want to give this project much praise because of how generic it can be. So to put this on the scale and giving us a high 6 out of 10, not really being one of my favorites from Future, but for what it's worth, at least it has something people will remember for the summer. But how do you guys feel about Future's latest album? What would you rate it? Let me know in the comments while liking and subscribing. Make sure to follow my IG and Twitter. And if you like the illustrations used in this video, make sure to follow the artist as well because she's dope. And on that note, I'll see you on Monday when I attempt to marry and divorce 200 women all in a day. Peace.